In this video, you're gonna learn about 5 different putter grips, which I think are the most popular and the most beneficial to keeping your club face a lot more stable. So I'm gonna be explaining the differences between each of these grips and how it changes your stroke and how it can benefit you. And if you wanna send in your swings to me, you can visit my profile on the Skillest app. I will leave a link to that in the description box below. But after I'm able to analyze your swing, I can give you more specific drills based on what your tendencies are. Okay, so the first grip that I'll explain is a very standard grip. And after I explain the grip, I'll go over the basic setup with a putter. And when I explain the different grips, I'll just show you the adjustments or how it changes your setup and what it promotes you to do more in your stroke. Just to start off, the putter grip is the only grip that has a flat front. Okay, so you'll notice that at the very top of the grip, it's very flat. So that's basically where you'd want to position your thumbs. So with a standard grip, if we look down, this is what it kind of looks like right in here. What I'm doing is I'm basically gripping it with the last 3 fingers of my lead hand, and I'm basically putting my entire right hand, hooking it on the opposite side. You can see my fingers are on the opposite side of the handle. And then this forefinger is just sitting basically right between my pinky and my ring finger of my right hand, okay? And when you look at it from the front, both thumbs are directly on top of the handle. My right hand is maybe covering the left thumb, okay? But this is like a very standard kind of putting grip that majority of people kind of start off with. So now that you kind of have an idea of where this grip is, the palms are usually facing each other. And that is so that you have more control over the face. We don't need a ton of rotation. Okay, that's why it's different than like your normal grip, like kind of like this, where your hands are maybe like turned over a little bit. So we don't need that in a putting grip. Okay, so palms are facing each other. I'm basically hooking my last 3 fingers on one side, and then all my 4 fingers of my trail hand on the other side, and I'm kind of putting my thumbs on top. So now, just to explain the setup a little bit. So from the front, we'll do it from the front first. So ball position, a little bit forward of center, okay? And the reason why it's forward is because when you make a stroke, if it's too far back, you'll kind of hit the ball kind of on the downstroke. And if you hit down on it, the ball in slow motion will kind of like bounce and it won't roll very true. So a little bit left of center is good. When you set up over it, you can kind of see that my elbows aren't really locked out, okay? They're like kind of bent and they're kind of tucked into my rib cage here, all right? So now from the side view, you can see when I'm setting up over it, I'm still bent from the side, but you can see how my elbows are bent here. They're really stuck into my rib cage here, all right? And then my wrists are high just so that the putter head is flat on the ground. And that's kind of what you want your eyes to be right on top of the ball, either right on top or just slightly, a little bit more to the inside is okay. We don't want the eyes to be like too far over top of the ball, things like that. We want it right on top or like a little bit to the inside, just so that when you're making a stroke, you can launch the ball kind of down the target line more correctly. If your eyes are like really far above, like outside of it, you'll tend to like push the putt to the right. And if it's really far to the inside, you'll tend to like pull the putt to the left. So these are some really basic things about the setup, just for your own knowledge. And everything is pretty square, okay? So hips, feet, shoulders, and everything are kind of parallel to where you're aiming the club face. So now, for grip number 2, if anyone wanted to change their grip, this would probably be the first different kind of grip that they would do, and it's a left hand low. So instead of your standard grip with the right hand below your left, okay, or trail hand below your lead hand, you just want to do the same thing, but you just want to reverse it. It's still hooked, but instead of it being like this way, I just reversed it to the opposite side, and I just put left hand low there. So now what this does, the benefit of doing this is that it keeps your hands a little bit more stable, okay? So when you have it the other way, the tendency that most people get is to get really active with their trail hand. So they either tend to flip it like this, or they tend to like maybe roll it a little bit too much, okay? So if you find that you're really active with your trail hand, the first grip that I would get you to try, if you want to try, is a left hand low, and you'll really feel like your right hand can't really do too much. Your lead hand is guiding it a bit more, right? And it's harder to kind of do this through the stroke when the left hand's low. It's easier to kind of keep that hand a bit more stable. And it's also easier because when this hand is lower than the right hand, it's easier to lead with this hand. Okay, so when you get this hand to lead, you won't get this action here where the butt end moves backward, right? It'll be easier to kind of move the entire putter forward, okay, instead of flipping it like this. So that's the benefit. Now, how it changes your setup is when you have a standard grip, you'll always want to try to have your shoulders fairly level to the ground, right? We don't want an excessive amount of tilt when putting, not too much. But when you adjust to left hand low, you can see how my lead shoulder kind of moves downwards a little bit. So that really encourages the shoulders to get a lot more level to the ground, okay? So when you do that, it becomes easier to kind of turn your shoulders more as you're kind of following through in the putt. The other tendency is when the trail hand gets lower, some people get this excessive tilt here and they have a hard time following through and they feel like their right hand kind of takes over a little bit more. Getting left hand low evens out the shoulders and it also keeps the hands feeling a lot more stable so that the face doesn't really move around a lot. So that's the second grip. So grip number 3 is a grip that I actually use. So I've used this grip for quite a long time now. And you might have seen this on tour a lot, but you just grip the left hand on it, fully on it, okay, thumb still on the front, but my right hand is kind of in this claw position. So that's what it's called. It's either called the saw or the claw. The way that I just hooked it is like, you see my palm is just wide open. There's a space right between my thumb and my forefinger. I just place it right onto the side like this. So the only thing that's touching is that corner of my thumb. And then also maybe my pinky finger is just resting on top. Okay, so nothing else is touching the grip. The benefit of having your hand in this position is that it takes out any form of rotation in your hand. So if you're gripping it standard, you can twist the face open, you can twist it closed, or you can flip it. But when your hand is positioned this way, you can't twist it, right? All you can do is push like this. So it really helps to take the right hand completely out of it, okay? And you just have to rock your shoulders and just maybe push the grip forward. So anyone that kind of struggles with kind of the yips, right? I've actually seen some students have this, where they have this kind of tremor in the right hand. They can't really like control the face angle at all. When they switch to this grip here, it goes away almost instantly. Now this one will be a bit weird to get used to for the majority of people. Like your longer putts will feel a bit weird to kind of gauge the distance because you're not used to holding it this way. But it really helps with short putts, okay? Again, it makes it really easy to kind of keep that face from rotating back and through. From the side view, you'll notice that when my right hand is in this position versus this position, you can see my right hand kind of comes out a little bit. But you still want to make sure that your forearms are fairly square. Okay, you don't want to get this right arm like way in front, otherwise you're going to start pulling it to the left. So you still want to make sure that your forearms are fairly square, okay, not in front like this. But if you're like that, it shouldn't affect how your shoulders are tilted or anything. Okay, it should still keep your shoulders fairly level to the ground, but it just takes away any form of rotation in that right hand. If you guys want to give this a try, you definitely can. Maybe it will help you keep the face more stable, help you with shorter putts in the long run. But yeah, this is my personal grip that I've used for quite a long time. So the fourth grip is a bit of a variation of the saw or the claw grip, and it's called the pencil grip. This was the saw that I just explained to you guys, right? I'm just putting my hand straight out. It's just fitting right in the gap in my thumb. My pinky's just right on top. Now, the pencil is just kind of looking like this. So you can see that my hand is kind of a little bit more underneath it, okay? And I'm holding it with basically my 3 fingers here. Some people prefer this a little bit more because when they grip it with the 3 fingers, they feel like they can handle the putter a little bit more. Okay, so they have a feeling of more control. But again, you're using the side of your hand to essentially push. If I take my hands off, you're just pushing it from here. Also, when that right wrist is a bit more cupped, you feel like it's locked in place a little bit more, so you have a bit more stability in that hand. Okay, but again, it just takes away any form of rotation as well. So it's just a variation of what I just explained before. But you can give this a try. Again, it'll feel kind of weird, especially for longer putts. But shorter putts, it should kind of give you a feeling of a lot of stability in the face. And the fifth and final grip that's been pretty popular in recent years. This one kind of originated in Japan. I'm not sure who kind of thought of this, but you're essentially, with a standard grip, your hands are a little bit more spread apart. Okay, so the further your hands are spread apart, it's easier for your one hand to kind of dominate. Okay, so with the standard grip, it's kind of in here. Now with this grip, it kind of looks like this. So I have my fingers crossed kind of like this. You can kind of focus on the first three fingers of your trail hand kind of hooking on the side, and the last three fingers of your lead hand around the side. So when I grip it that way, I get my palms on top. You can see my thumbs are a little bit more like closer together. You can see my hands are like not really spread apart, but they're almost side by side. So when it's more side by side like that, now you also have more stability in terms of you can't get that lead hand or trail hand to dominate, kind of like underneath it like this. Okay, so when it's hooked underneath and the hands are like more side by side like this, people feel a lot more control, and it's really handled in there, right? Or snugged in your fingers there. So you can see underneath my hand, right? I kind of have my pinky finger of my trail hand on top and my lead forefinger on top here. So the standard grip looks like this. Okay, just that lead finger is on top in between. But when I do that other grip, my hands are just a lot closer together. So having it this way is another variation you can try. Again, it's been pretty popular in recent years because people just have a different feeling in their hands. They're a lot closer together, like I was saying. Okay, these are the 5 grips that I would suggest, and what I think is really good in terms of keeping the face really stable and then preventing a lot of rotation in that trail hand. That's what a lot of people struggle with when they're putting in terms of getting the ball to start on line. So if you want to give these drills a try or these grips a try, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.